Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Embraced, and we are working on the Amber City today. Yes, today we are back once again to the snowy mountaintops so that we can get started on the actual development of the city. We've established this entryway. We got this tunnel started up last episode so that we can truly start getting a feel for how the rest of the city is going to come together, and we have a nice entrance to welcome in new people into the city. But with that being said, I did a little bit of work and I laid out kind of a framework for how I want to start getting the streets to move along, so that we can get to much more exciting parts of building. Uh, in fact, I have gathered up some more resources so that I can extend this road out and potentially get to developing the actual houses that would go along the streets. And so without further ado, let's get that started. Aha, there we go. We have a beautiful little crossroad, and it's now time to start working on the actual buildings themselves. But you may have noticed that my voice is a bit on the deeper side, because I have been recovering from sickness since the last time that I worked on this, and I haven't really been able to put too much thought or effort and practice into what I actually wanted to do for the buildings itself. But I've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I wanted to sort of get started on that anyway, in spite of the fact that I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but am recovering. So I'm going to grab some blocks so that we can start doing some planning and potentially get a building onto the ground. Alright, so one of the things that I wanted to do with this is I wanted to try planning out the actual buildings themselves before I even place any of the blocks down. Now, this may not sound too groundbreaking for regular people, or even just general building, but I am one who tends to kind of throw myself at things whenever I am kind of trying to make decisions and stuff like that. I like to kind of break the buildings apart by kind of like building up a first instance, then fixing it to what I like, then building up a second instance and fixing it to what I like. But I wanted to try something a little bit different because I have such a specific idea for how I want the building, how I want the city and the buildings in this town to feel. I am going to be a much more deciding and delicate with how I'm going to space these buildings apart with their size and stuff. And because I specifically have laid out a street in front of us, I need to have them conform to the size of the things that I want them to do. And I went back and forth on a bunch of ideas for how I wanted that to kind of permeate and exist. And I decided that instead of testing and testing and testing, I would show y'all kind of the framework of what I want that to look like. Now, specifically, one of the things that I have been playing around with in my head over and over and over again is that I have been building these buildings in my head way too small. I've been thinking about them as like 7 tall or 13 tall, and that's from floor to roof, not floor to ceiling. And one of the things I keep running into, and whenever I keep looking at examples of the buildings that I want to build, oh, I chose white wool with snow. I'm a fool. But it'll work for now. It'll work for now. It'll work. One of the things that I keep running into while I'm looking at these examples of buildings that I want is that they are taller than the person. Specifically, like the streets of Victorian London and the kind of like the gas lamp districts in these bigger cities. They, even if looking at New York, as they kind of like brought that kind of thing into their networks and systems, they are tall. Like they're raised off the ground a little bit, and then on top of that, they have big windows into a second story as well. So one of the things I kept doing is I kept making Minecraft builds where like the floor to ceiling is 3 blocks tall, and then it's a second floor. I kept trying to squish details into a build and a building that really needed room to breathe, I fear. And that was something that I was really struggling with. And the other thing I really wanted to kind of figure out is, do I want this mountain inclusion here? And I'm kind of thinking not. I think I may tear this back so that I can really start. You walk in and you're already flanked by tall buildings, and it'll transition down as we go along into buildings. But I kind of want you to get a feel for the size and then stay with the roofs as you come down. But that's enough chattering about it. Let's actually get to the planning itself. And so I think just to kind of establish what a building is going to look like and kind of a feel for what the city is going to look like, we're going to start off with kind of as big of a building that I'm willing to compromise on for this smaller part of the city. Aha, there we have it. A nice little. It's not little, but it's a nice layout for how we want the building to feel. Specifically, I love these like long, thin windows, mixed with one big one in the center, and hopefully a raised up walk-in into the building. But now that we've planned it, I think that we actually have to start building the building itself. And specifically with that, I have made some palette choices that I'm not sure I'm super committed to, but I really like the general concept and feeling that these blocks have, so that we can get an idea of the colors coming together. Okay. I think I want to do this. we have the actual structure of the building now. And isn't that pretty? I love the contrast between the red and the green at the top. And I think it does. I think it feels great. I think this is a really nice start, especially as like a baseline for how I want these buildings to feel. But now that I've gotten a actual structure down, I am really excited for this next touch because I think it is very important for the feeling of the city. Now, that is actually quite nice. Uh-huh. Yeah. We definitely are starting to get that feeling of like a little bit of glow from inside the house. But one thing I think that we need to do, because this lovely family has left their window open and it's snowing. Well, I think they should close their window. I think one thing we can do to help them is give them a nice little candle. To kind of just round out that feeling. And I think I like that a lot. It's simple, but it's... Oh, did I miss one? Got it. Got it. Not too bad. There we are. Now that is exactly the feeling that I'm going for. That I want it to feel kind of like... It creates this effect that there's like lighting in the house somewhere, but not by the windows, except for right... Oh, goodness. Except for right here, where you can see the roof, you can see the ceiling, you can see a little bit more light. And I think I like that a lot. I think I'm a very big fan of that. I am. Especially at night, especially in the snow. That feels really cool. And I think I am pretty much done with the first house. Let's turn off the snow. Just so we can get a clearer vision of what we're looking at. And, oh yeah, I like that a lot. Like, if we're walking into the city, this is kind of what I'm going for. It has these long, tall windows mixed with candles and lamps and steam rising out of the vents. Pretty oxidized copper roofs contrasting with the red. It's got that brick material. It feels like a building in the city. And I like that a lot. I'm a very big fan of that. Alright, now we finish up the first house on the streets so that we can really start to get a feel for what the buildings are going to look like. We're going to give alternate me some time to work on the other side of the street, and while he does that, we're going to do some work on some villager trading and repairing some of my tools in the meantime. Uh-huh. Did you know that in 1807, Robert Fulton and Robert Livingston were the first men to build and pilot a commercially successful steamboat? Specifically, Robert Livingston piloted the ship's vessel for its maiden voyage, where it ferried passengers up the Hudson River all the way up to Albany, a 40-hour trip in total. The ship was named the Clermont, being used by Livingston Shipping Company to make these journeys. Fulton was also a member of the Erie Canal Commission until the day he died. He truly died by the thing that brought him fame and success. He contracted tuberculosis after saving a friend from falling into the Hudson River while walking down the frozen river on his way home one afternoon. And fun fact about tuberculosis. Oh, it seems our alternative self is finishing up construction. Oh, and he did a great job. It looks fantastic. I love what he did with the tough textures across the top. With the differences in levels here. Very big fan. And nice boarded up windows too. That's super cool. I like that. But like the other house, it is sadly a bit of a facade. But I want to do something with this facade and turn it into a little farm that's tucked away into the house. I think that'll be cool. as we start moving our way into actually making this city feel alive and using it for its intended purposes. Uh, Actually spreading out the utility across the city, I think that'll be quite dandy. I specifically love this nice little living garden wall with a composter and a little food source as well that we can turn into bone meal. Isn't that lovely? Thank you. Bump, bump. Let's see if we can get ourselves a bird eye view here. There we are. Little chimney just to pop some details on. Some consistencies across the buildings. And I think this is really coming along nicely. But I think one thing that I really want to do is I want to start getting... I already mentioned it, but I want to get farms into actual buildings themselves. Because I don't mind making some of these buildings facades, but I would like to try and give them as much use and value as I can, specifically starting with this one. And staying within the theme of it being kind of like a house that holds someone with a green thumb, I think I want to make a sugarcane farm on the inside. I think that's what we're going to do right now. We thankfully have some detectives left over... some observers left over from whenever I was making the sheep farm for the wool that we were using. And we also have plenty of iron, redstone, and wood and cobblestone to make some pistons for the thing that we need. I think I'll do 16. I seem to be out of sugarcane, but I should be able to find some quickly that we can whip up in the meantime. And that should be 16. That'll be plenty. That'll be plenty of plenty. And... bloop. Just to stop the water from freezing. Uh-huh. Remember, kids. Return your water from where you got it from. I'm gonna do a line of pistons. And a line of observers. A little line of redstone so that the observers will trigger the pistons once our sugarcane is pushed. Then the exact same thing on the other side. And there we have it. Oh my goodness gracious, that took way longer than I expected. I apparently know nothing about Minecraft Rails, because that was way more complicated than I thought it would be. But it's done. It's done. There is a collection underneath the sugarcane farm itself where the minecarts will go back and forth, constantly picking up all of the sugarcane that should get pushed after it ticks up to the 3rd height, and it will be deposited into a storage system just below. I would show you, but if I look at another rail cart, I'm not sure what I'll do. So for now, we're just gonna chalk this up to me mommy's and daddy's room, and any rattling or rolling of a minecart we hear is none of our business. And I think, after getting that done, that is going to be where we call it for today. I'd like to thank everybody for watching and getting to participate and show off as we actually get into what the city's going to look like and actually have a feeling of what the city is going to be. But next episode, I really want to get deeper into what that looks like and actually get some of the industrial revolutions and the gas lamp city districts feeling gas lampish. But for now, thank you all for watching.